Alright, what is going on everybody? Welcome back to another video, and the following is an extremely surprisingly deep conversation with Axel Schurawlow. Axel is a vegan crossfitter and influencer on social media, and he's also writing a book about mindset and personal development. We started talking about fitness, veganism, nutrition and all of that, and ended up talking about death. So I hope you really enjoyed this one. It was an extremely interesting conversation. What's up, man?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm great. You?
Good, good. I can't
I guess
complain. I'm really good. Thank you. Thanks for
I
having
guess
me.
it's yeah. Thank you so much for being here. And before we get into it, I want to acknowledge you and thank you for everything you're doing. Your page makes me jealous, man.
I hope in a good way.
Yeah, yeah, in a really good way. And I actually wanna talk a little bit about that. But let's start with the first question that I like to ask everybody, and that is, how and why did you go vegan? Because I know you were working out before going vegan, so I gotta hear that story.
Of course, the the vegan story. All right. I was a big meat eater. My family has a Russian background, so if you don't have meat with a meal, it's not a real meal. So that was my paradigm in my head. I need meat. I'm eating a lot of meat. And then I got into fitness and health. And I was following this guy called Misha Yanez. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah,
He's a
yeah.
bodybuilder. He was part of Game Changers. And he decided to do this 30 days vegan challenge. And he's this big guy, weighs more than 100 kilograms. And I was like, why? Maybe just for YouTube. I don't know. I followed the entire journey. And during this journey, obviously, I learned so many things about nutrition. And yeah, many of my limiting beliefs went away. So many myths, he debunked so many myths, and he met like experts in this field. And after this 30 days challenge, he actually decided to go fully vegan. He had like, maybe I'm trying it, but then at the end, he went fully vegan. And that inspired me to educate myself. So I started watching documentaries. I watched documentaries, read books about nutrition. And that's
Would
how
you
it all
say that?
started.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you were working out before going vegan and you were following the standard bodybuilding diet with lots of meat, like I
Oh
was.
man, I ate like 300 grams of chicken every day. And
Yeah.
before I went to bed, I ate 300 grams of yogurt when I was a
Yeah,
teenager, simply because I thought I need so much protein.
yeah.
Um,
I was pretty much the same, but I was eating around 500 grams of meat a day, plus a yogurt, plus whey protein, and
oh, yeah.
some cheese in there sometimes. It was just absolutely insane. Now that I look back, it's like there's no nutritional recommendation that tells us to eat this much meat anyway. If we look at the current nutritional
Mhm.
recommendations, and I'm not going to say that they're perfect, but they pretty much kept the animal protein at about 75 to 100 grams per meal.
Yeah,
But
which is
we in the bodybuilding space are like, no, that's fine. It's super healthy. You can eat as much as you want. And I was in that mentality. I was for a long time. I had the mentality that the more protein I eat, the better.
yeah, I was the same. It was all just about protein.
Yeah.
My entire day was just, where can I get protein from? I didn't care about micronutrients. I was just, oh, protein. Where can I get the protein from? Yeah, luckily I got really bad acne when I was a teenager, so I quit dairy.
Okay.
I was like the beginning of the internet, and I googled how can I get rid of acne, and someone just said in a blog, or I don't know, article shared, hey, maybe quit dairy for a couple of weeks and maybe it will improve your skin. I did that and it literally disappeared. So I was like, stopped eating dairy, but it was still a heavy meat
And
eater.
did you eat it after that sometime, and what were the results? Did you break out?
Yeah, but not as bad. Like,
Okay.
I ate a pizza once in a while with some like cheese on it, but I wouldn't eat 300 grams of yogurt anymore, which is insane anyways.
Yeah.
I just forced it into myself. Like I was
Yeah.
just desperate.
So
You
it
know,
took a pretty open-mindedness, I'm gonna say, to transition to a vegan diet after just watching Nietzsche doing it. What would you say were your main reasons to go vegan? Were the animals, the planet, health, all of them?
yeah, I would say all of them. It's a win-win
Yeah.
concept. It started with simply just being curious. Like, as I said, so many things that I always believed were true were obviously not true. Once I saw all these guys being vegan and being super fit, I'm like, something is wrong. But then, yeah, I couldn't say it was just the animals. Care for my, like, I'm obviously like, I have interest in my own health, and I care about the environment. So all these three things together, I couldn't just name
How was the transition? Was it easy? Because I usually say that for me it was incredibly easy, and most people have a hard time believing it. How was your experience?
I believe you because it was easy for me as well. But yeah, everyone is different, right? We all have
Right.
different stories, different beliefs. I started slowly. I was already eating a lot of whole grains, a lot of veggies, so
Yeah.
that part was not difficult anymore. And it was a journey, you know, like the 30 days challenge took 30 days. So I had time. The last thing that I cut out was chicken. But yeah, for me, it wasn't that difficult. I had some digestive problems because I thought, I'm going to be smart. Instead of 300 grams of chicken, I'm going to eat 300 grams of lentils. I just forgot. Same amount of protein.
Yeah.
Right? Like almost, or 300 grams of tofu. Same amount of protein, but now you also have some fiber in your diet. And so it took me a couple of weeks to get used to the fiber, and I quickly learned that I have to give my microbiome a little bit of time to adjust.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I went from like 30 grams of fiber, which is higher than most people get, to 100 grams. And I did it pretty much overnight because I kind of went vegan overnight. And the first 2-3 weeks, I was really bloated, especially when waking up. But after a while, it just my microbiome adjusted. So I want to leave this message to everyone, because this is actually one of the most common questions about
and
veganism.
it's so frustrating when you're bloated. It's horrible.
Yeah.
And you you have to get through it. But
yeah. So tell me about your physical performance before and after going vegan, because you were working out. Did you change your workouts as well, or was it pretty much just the same?
Pretty much the same. I gained a lot of weight once I went vegan. I know for many people it's the other way around, but I wanted to try out all the vegan things, all the processed foods, went to every vegan restaurant, ate a lot of like fast food just because like I wanted to explore, and I didn't really care about gaining weight at that point. So I definitely recovered faster, even though I was eating so much bad, like such shitty food. And for me, the biggest thing was honestly not feeling tired after a meal. Usually, like when I had my lunch afterwards, I would always need a nap. I thought it's
Okay.
necessary. That's just how I am, right? But once I started eating more fruits, more veggies, more whole grains, more whole foods, and cutting out all the crap, I felt just more energized. I slept better, and I discovered a new way of feeling. Like I didn't know that you could feel this way. I thought I felt normal all the time, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought it would be normal to be tired after you ate. It's not. That was probably the
And
biggest
on
thing for
the,
me.
I also felt like my recovery got a little bit better, especially because I was eating more antioxidants, a little bit more fruits, veggies, and even some more spices. I only started added spices to my diet after going vegan, which is kind of insane, but we just don't use a lot like turmeric, ginger, and all of that. I just started using it after because I was
Mm.
influenced by Middle Eastern food, Indian food, and all of that good stuff. But how do you think that your mind, and this is for me, this is the most important part, this is the most fascinating part. How do you think that your mind changed after going vegan? Did you feel like you had a psychological transformation as well?
Trillion%. I started asking more questions about certain beliefs that I had in my life, simply because I saw how so many things that I believe were true are not true. So I became more critical, which can be good and bad. But I also definitely became more spiritual. I started reading more. I started my personal development journey. I started meditating. So many things. And you obviously surround yourself with different people then. And I think, like, looking back, that had a big influence on my life. Good impact. But yeah, these were the main things. I became more spiritual, more open-minded, and more. I
Connected.
became more. How would you say? Empathetic,
Yeah,
and understanding
that's
that
it.
I'm not always right. That I can be wrong. I always told people. I've been telling people for 20 years almost in my life that you have to eat meat and you have to do this, and if you're not, you're wrong, you're stupid. So I'm like, maybe I'm not always right, maybe I'm wrong. Where did I actually learn this?
Yeah, that's actually one of the most important questions that I think everyone should ask themselves is why have we been doing this all my life? Where
Mm.
did we start? And just ask that why, because I feel like we go a lot of our lives on autopilot and we really don't think about why do we eat meat? Why do we eat pigs and not dogs? And this applies for everything in our life, and I feel like I had a huge transformation in that area as well after going vegan because, like you said, you become more open-minded, but at the same time more critical. And when you mix these two things and you season it with some critical logical reasoning, you can actually kind of
You add some
become
hummus.
yeah, with the Hummus, you can become really, really good at thinking and philosophizing. This is basically philosophy.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. By the way, if not, before I was vegan, I have never tried hummus in my life,
me neither. Yeah.
and that was a game changer. So many foods that I've never heard of. Like, I
Right?
honestly didn't know what an avocado is. Like, I just had no clue. I
Yeah.
didn't even know that certain foods existed. Dates.
Right?
Like, for most people don't know it, and most of the, like, I just didn't eat so many fruits. I was eating like apples sometime, maybe a banana, but
Yeah, like typical vegan, like hummus, avocado, tahini, dates. What else?
it's funny because many people think that once you go vegan, you have to restrict yourself. But in my bubble, it was the other way around.
Yeah.
I learned so many more things about nutrition. I discovered so many new foods that I've never heard of. So yeah, my diet became more exciting.
Yeah, I feel the same. There's like 200,000 plants, edible plants, on the planet, and we use just a couple of them, and it's insane. And when you mix them up together, it just turns out to be incredible, and we never really get to try it. And I come from a Mediterranean diet background here in Portugal. I'm used to eating lots of veggies and fruits and all, but my diet just got way better, more varied, with more flavor after going vegan, which a lot of people will not believe. So let me know how, in your transition, how did your bodybuilding CrossFit friends react, and your family as well?
So my family thought I was crazy, which is true. But yeah, obviously, like I didn't expect them to understand me. Um, so I kind of like I didn't really care, but they didn't understand. The only person in my entire family was probably my sister, and she was like really spiritual, really open-minded. So she kind of like, ah, that's interesting. I think my friends didn't really care too much, and
Okay,
I think I didn't even tell them for a while that
really?
I did that.
Did
Yeah,
you feel like you were kind of ashamed or something like that? Because I did go through a little bit of that phase.
definitely to a certain point. Yeah, I was also just like a new vegan, so I didn't want to tell everyone, no, I'm vegan, no, I know everything about the world and life and diet. So I just kind of like tried it out for myself and see how, how it goes, right? I was in a relationship back then with someone who wasn't vegan, and that was challenging. Not because she didn't have empathy, but because um, yeah, I didn't feel comfortable anymore with like having animal products in my fridge. I wouldn't see just chicken. I would see, or like I wouldn't see the chicken breast. I would see the animal behind that. You know, I wouldn't just see the product in the supermarket, but what what impact or what had to happen in order to get this chicken breast into the supermarket, into your fridge. So I that was a struggle. But yeah, most people I would say were skeptical. Like if
Yeah.
I talked about it, or just simply said, sorry, do you have any like vegan foods? I remember this one family dinner at a restaurant, and I come from a tiny village, and they were like, vegan? What is that? And I mean, it's like what, 5.5 years ago. Like
Yeah.
the situation back then was different. So yeah, I definitely have a couple of moments where I felt like shame, or like I felt like, oh, I'm kind of like different.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel.
Nowadays I don't care anymore. I'm like, yeah, I'm confident. I know what I'm doing. Uh,
Did you? I definitely empathize with that because I also grew up in a small village here, and I also went vegan like 5.5 years ago. So we probably went vegan right around the same time. But on the topic of relationships, I feel like a lot of people think we vegans are crazy when we say that we would never marry or live with someone that wasn't vegan, and because a lot of people feel like that's just the crazy extreme vegan thing. But for me, and I think it's the same for you, the fact that someone is vegan is not only the fact that someone is vegan, is what that also brings, because that means that that person is, first of all, open-minded. It has a lot of empathy, has critical thinking, has consciousness, and these are all qualities that I want to see on a partner. And it's not just the it's vegan thing, but the it's vegan thing brings a lot of other qualities that I look for in another person. Do you feel the same?
yeah, it's 13%, of course. Yeah. And by the way, I know relationships where it works. Like one person is vegan and the other person is not vegan. I think it comes to you individual in like your own person, and your intuition and your thoughts. but yeah, I agree. Like, I just couldn't deal with it. It doesn't mean that the other person is bad. I didn't want to deal with it, you know? Like, I wouldn't be in a relationship with someone who is, for example, lazy, and nothing wrong with being lazy, or like a person who smokes, like, all good. Like, do whatever makes your soul happy. I just want to be in a relationship with someone who's active, who loves fitness, just interests, you know? And yeah, I think it can work, but for me personally, I don't want to make it work, you know?
Yeah, you said one very important thing there that I feel like a lot of people need to hear. You said it's not like they're bad people. And I think that's a really important message to pass across. We all used to eat meat. Nobody is perfect. And even after going vegan, there's a lot of things about it that probably aren't that perfect. And I feel like that's a message that we should get across, and it would be much more effective for veganism to do that.
1,000,000%. I couldn't agree more. When I
funny,
I had a phase, a period of time where I kind of thought I have to teach everyone about veganism, and if they are not vegan, they are completely wrong, and I have to teach them and tell them what life is about. This is not really effective, and I also realized that it's a little bit it's just not the right thing to do, right? I've been eating animal products for 20 years, so who am I to judge someone else for eating animal products? I think in many cases it's just a matter of having the right information, and you can inspire someone, you can lead by example, but telling someone you are bad because of this and this, and shaming doesn't really help anyone. Yeah. By the way, Sandra, I'm reading your comments.
Yes,
I'm reading all comments. Let's dedicate some time later to answer some of the comments, because I really appreciate when someone.
So did you get the angry vegan phase?
100% for a couple of months. Yeah, really painful phase of my life.
Yeah. I feel
don't
like
recommend that to anyone.
That has to be on a vegan manual on every tips for vegan beginners.
True, that it would actually be good if you get like a book. Don't do that. Eat hummus. Eat 300 grams of lentils every day.
I think we do need it. So let's talk. This is going to be the last question about training.
Sure.
You do CrossFit. Let's get serious. Let's talk about your numbers. First of all, do you think you have below, above, or average genetics? Because this is really important.
Below, above. Average, I would say.
Okay.
I was a really skinny teenager, and it took me a while to gain weight. But I was also really athletic and played football for my almost entire life. So I would say like average.
Okay. So what are your lifting PRs?
Lifting PRs. Which lifts?
Give me your best ones.
My best one would be probably deadlifts. Above 200.
Okay, good.
Kilograms. Haven't done a PB attempt in a long time, but I'm sure I'll still be able to. I don't know if you're familiar with a clean.
Yeah. Sure.
125.
Okay.
Bench press.
I feel like I would break a shoulder, but that's fine.
What's that?
I feel like I would break a shoulder trying to clean 100 kilos.
Yes, squat clean. Bench press, the heaviest I ever had was, I think, 125.
Yeah, it's the same for me.
Now
yeah, we have the same bench.
But I honestly haven't practiced bench press for a while. And then your numbers go obviously a little bit, it takes time. Like, if you don't use it, you lose it. But yeah, what else do we have? Squats.
I think your front squat is pretty good. I saw some stories.
Yeah, I've never really attempted like a PB, just front squats 1 reps, but I can go for reps for like 130. We had a competition once and I did 130 for 3 reps. So I would assume like 140, 145.
Yeah, that's those are really good numbers, achievable by most people after hard work and diet.
And my number 1 goal is not to like be as strong as possible, you know.
Yeah.
My goal is to be as fit as possible. So yeah.
So tell me about your book. I know you started writing a book. Let me know more about it.
The first person to ask, now the first person I talked to about it. It's a book about mindset, my own journey. Yeah, it's mainly about mental health. I don't want to give too many insights, also because I don't want to hype people too much. It will be in German, my mother language first, before I will translate it, or someone else will translate it. But yeah.
So a lot about mindset. Tell me, what are your main mindset tips that you have to give people?
Great question. There are a billion.
Right.
The one thing that pops up to my mind is probably to find something that puts you on fire. Today I wrote a chapter about ikigai. I don't know if you are familiar with that.
Yeah.
But it's from the Japanese culture, and it translates into finding a purpose for life, finding a reason to get out of bed in the morning. And I actually did studies about that topic, about ikigai, about having a purpose, and people who have a purpose in life tend to live longer, healthier lives than people who don't. Yeah. So I would highly recommend to find something that puts you on fire. What's that?
Have you read Man's Search for Meaning?
Of course. Of course.
So that's kind of the whole point, and we also know that from the Blue Zones and all of those studies. So what's your purpose? Have you found it?
My purpose, yeah, a couple of years ago. And my purpose is to make other people happy. Nothing makes me as happy as helping someone else in terms of their physique, their mindset. If I go to bed and I know, hey, today I improved someone else's life, that gives me this feeling of, hey, I'm living a meaningful life.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you feel the same. It's like after you have that amount of fulfillment in your life, when you found your ikigai, you're working on it, it feels like all of the other things that you once thought were important, especially material things, are like just nah. You don't get high from buying something new. You're high every day.
Yeah, well, obviously, even if you have your ikigai, even if you figured out what puts you on fire, you will still have bad moments. And I think we will have challenges for the rest of our lives. Like, it doesn't matter how fulfilled, how happy you are. You wouldn't even know what this feeling of being happy feels like if you wouldn't know what it feels like to be sad, right? So yeah, that's really important to mention. Sometimes people think, Axel is just going through life and always smiling and always happy. No, I have moments where I get pissed off, frustrated, sad, chasing the wrong things, forgetting what my main thing is. But
demotivation sometimes, even when we're doing things that we love.
It's really, sometimes you feel, but I don't judge myself. Like, sometimes I feel like watching stupid videos for a couple of hours. I do that, and then I'm good, you know. But yeah, I think you have to feel all of those feelings. You can't just say, oh, I'm only gonna feel happiness. And I think that wouldn't be exciting, you know. Life wouldn't be so exciting.
That's an unreasonable expectation, to expect to feel happy all the time. And it's like the sentence, expectations are disappointments in the making. You shouldn't have that kind of expectations. So give me more mindset tips, because I feel like this was really important for a lot of people watching.
Do we have any mindset questions here in the comments?
Oh yeah, I would love that. Why do you journal?
Why do I journal? Many reasons. It's a great start for me to to start the day when I focus on things, for example, that I'm grateful for. It programs my mind to look throughout the day for things that I'm grateful for. It also primes myself for a calm, relaxing day and gives my day structure. So I would ask myself every single morning, my journal is right next to me, every single morning, I ask myself, what am I grateful for? Every single freaking morning, and every morning I come up with 3 different things, except one, and that's my partner. I ask myself, what would make today great? And at the end of the day, it's a beautiful feeling if you look back on your journal and you have accomplished those 3 things. They don't have to be big things, usually small steps, just to make sure that I'm in alignment with my purpose, with my dreams. And then last but not least, the 3rd question is, how do I want to show up today? What kind of person do I want to be today? And it's a stupid question because no one really wants to write down sad, mad, frustrated, angry. But it helps my mind just to know, hey, I want to be energized. I want to be a loving partner. I want to be excited. I want to be energized.
Yeah, I tried that exact same journal for a couple of weeks. I stopped doing it just because, no reason, but I should probably get into it. But a lot of times during the day, I just stop and think, what am I grateful for today? And I really feel like that helped change my mindset as well and made me a happier, more minimalist person, because after a while you start to realize what really matters. Because honestly, today I'm grateful for something material that isn't useful, for example, just this thing that I bought and I don't even give it use. You're never really that thankful for that. Maybe you're thankful for the opportunity for being able to buy that, because that means that you're in a decent place financially and all of that. But the thing itself, for me, I feel like I kind of lost that connection a long time ago. And you pretty much live out of a suitcase. And I want to talk a little bit about that. Do you feel like that made you more minimalistic?
Definitely. I sold everything I had. So I never heard of the term minimalist or minimalism before. I just followed my intuition. My intuition told me, sell everything you have and go travel for a while. I did that. But yeah, I think back then minimalism wasn't a thing. It taught me so many lessons, and most importantly, it taught me that I don't need anything in order to be happy. Sounds so romantic, but it's true. And I can always go back to this, you know. Still, all my belongings fit into one backpack, but I don't do it because I want to call myself a minimalist, you know. I do it because right now it feels right, it feels convenient. I would love to have a stand desk at some time, treadmill desk, sorry, at some point that won't fit into a backpack. But this lesson was so, great to know, hey, actually, you don't need all that stuff. You don't need money. I traveled for a couple of years with almost no money, and I was so happy. So that's something great to remember.
How did you do it? I know there's like literally everyone here thinking, how do you travel with almost no money? Because you've been traveling for how long now?
Well, right now I have plenty of money. But back then it was right after I turned 19, I think. Back then I didn't really have money. Like, I sold everything. So I kind of had a budget to travel, but obviously I wanted to travel as long as possible. So I had a really tight budget. I did that for almost 2 years. worked sometimes in between, but traveled for 2 years. And I just lived a really simple life. I stayed at hostels. Sometimes I did couch surfing, which is a platform which is for free. You can just stay at people's house, maybe not during a pandemic, but back then it worked. I volunteered at schools. Yeah, and I just ate local foods, traveled like I just lived like a local, and I went to places like India, Sri Lanka, Thailand, like a whole Southeast Asia. And it's really cheap here, or it can be really cheap if you want. And yeah, that's how I managed it. I just managed expectations.
Yeah, that's incredible, and that's one of my goals. I really want to stop everything and just go 6 months to Southeast Asia and see everything. I go to Thailand, Indonesia, and all of that. I feel like that would be a lifetime experience. What's your favorite country or favorite countries?
I could name 27. I don't really can say anything. What's my favorite country? Probably I have to say Germany, simply because without Germany I couldn't be here. It's a blessing to have the German passport. You know, I had the opportunity to go to school. I had enough foods. I had a home. You know, my parents weren't from Germany, so I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity Germany gave me. It's not something that we should take for granted, to have like equal opportunities. In many countries, with like the US, people, like, you can't say that everywhere, that you have equal opportunities. Like in most places in Europe, you can go to school, you can go study, even like studying can be for free, which is nuts. So I think I have to say Germany, otherwise I would sound ungrateful.
Yeah, I feel like that's the most important thing in a society. And if I was designing a society, I would try to give everyone the same starting line, and that's probably the most important thing that we can do. Really interesting that you said that, actually.
Yeah, you're really interesting that I came up with this answer, because I don't want to live there right now, or like in general. But still, like, apparently it was in my hat.
Yeah. So, you traveled the world through all these countries as a vegan. How was that experience? Was it hard to be vegan on the road, on these third world countries?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most of them are they considered as third world countries. Anyway, is India still a third? I don't think so. I don't know. But I also went to third world countries, and I didn't really feel such a big difference, especially in the Asian culture, where you have a lot of exotic fruits, a lot of veggies, a lot of rice, obviously. And yeah, it wasn't that difficult. Like, I know, I'm aware that there are some countries where it can be really challenging, but I haven't visited one. Probably.
Really?
Yeah. I couldn't say, like, even in Bangladesh, that's a third world country, I think.
Yeah.
Even there I could like find my food. Most meals are plant-based anyways, simply because they can't afford meat. So yeah, it wasn't super challenging. Like in Bali, it's probably the best ever. But yeah, especially in India, it was super easy. I can't think of a single country where it was super challenging. Maybe once in Italy, in certain villages.
Okay.
But yeah, otherwise, obviously, if I could take you to Germany, to a couple of places, a couple of villages, and they would look at you like this if you would say that you are vegan, or they wouldn't even know what veganism is. But if you go to Berlin, everyone knows it. So it really depends on the place. Most of the time it was really easy. I could always get my fruit, always get some kind of legumes. In India, you had a lot of lentils, dal. In Bali or in Indonesia, you have tempeh, tofu. In Thailand, So there was always something that I could find.
Yeah, I bet that's a mind opener for a lot of people. So now to the good part. Tell me your craziest travel story, because I bet you've been traveling for so long. There's got to be some real interesting pieces there.
I hope no one from my family listens. No. Craziest travel experience. Once, it's not super crazy, but traveling in an Indian train can be nuts. I encourage everyone to go on YouTube and see what it's like to travel in an Indian train. So many people, it's so crowded. People push each other, not in a bad way, just in like they use it as a tool to fit as many people in to a train as possible. And yeah, I saw crazy things. You see like animals in the train, like chicken, there could be a pig, like everything could be in a train. People tried to steal my backpack, which was funny because I was sleeping and like locals would wake me up and tell me like, hey, someone is stealing your backpack. And then I would jump up in the middle of the night and yeah, get my backpack. I had babies sleeping on me. You know, you have like different classes in the train, and like some people have like just seats and some people can lay down, and then you have the first class, and I mostly traveled in the, I think it's called second class, where you can sleep. And one morning I woke up and I had like 6 babies around me just sleeping. Yeah, that was great. I could probably come up with some different stories, but I'm afraid that my sister or someone's listening.
That's how all the good stories start. Like I hope no one from my family is listening, and then you start the story. So we have a couple more minutes. Let's go back to nutrition, because that's what we mostly talk about here. Do you believe in counting calories, or are you more an intuitive eater?
Do I believe in it? It can be helpful if you maybe want to gain weight or you want to lose weight for a couple of weeks, months, maybe. I don't count my calories. I'm really intuitive. I'm really in tune with my body. I know when I didn't eat enough, and I know when I eat enough. I know when I make progress in the gym, I get enough calories. So yeah, I don't track anything. I don't track my protein. I don't worry about my protein. I don't worry about carbs, fats. I just eat to fuel my body and really listen to it carefully.
That's great. What are your favorite protein sources?
Tempeh, tofu,
okay.
Hummus, nuts and seeds, I would say, and protein shakes. The most convenient.
Okay. Yeah.
I just like it's so convenient. That's why I drink it.
That's what I always say. Any foods that you have every day or you couldn't live without, besides hummus?
Funny, I just made a video. I literally published it today on my German YouTube channel. 5 things I couldn't live without. So that one is really easy. Berries are my all-time favorite. One thing that I love about Germany are the berries, strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, so high in antioxidants. I think every single human being, vegan or not, should eat berries every single day, just because they're so freaking healthy, so high in antioxidants, so many health benefits. So yeah, that would be a no-brainer for me to live without berries. Number 2, bananas, just because they're just so... Yeah, I love bananas. I eat a lot of calories. Yeah, monkey. I eat a lot of calories, and it's really helpful to have some bananas. You can make banana bread, so definitely bananas. Tempeh, one of my favorite protein sources. Tastes amazing. So many different nutrients, fiber. Same for tofu, by the way. Nutritional yeast.
Okay.
Makes every dish great. I'm a big pasta lover. So it gives it this cheesy taste, especially if it melts on your pasta. I love nutritional yeast. And then last but not least, hummus.
Okay, hummus. Last? How dare you?
The best thing comes always at the last. Yeah.
What supplements do you currently take?
I take multi nutrients.
Okay.
Which contains all the critical nutrients on a vegan diet: vitamin B12, vitamin D, iodine, selenium, and some other things are inside as well. I think calcium, yeah, and some protein shake once in a while. Omega-3 as well. But yeah, these are the main things, these 3 things.
B12?
What's that?
B12, do you take it with a multi-nutrient?
It's in the multi-nutrient, yeah.
And vitamin D as well?
Yeah. I wouldn't really need vitamin D.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, especially if I go to Germany, I make sure that I supplement with vitamin D. It's crazy how many people don't. Recently, I read a statistic that more than 1 billion people are deficient in vitamin D, which is nuts. And it has such bad effects on your well-being, on your mental health as well. So yeah,
it's
and it's so affordable.
Problem.
Like I don't get it. Yeah, I think every kid should get vitamin D for free at school. The planet Earth would be such a more peaceful place if more people would take vitamin D. A happier place, especially.
Yeah. I think so. I think vitamin D, vitamin B12, and iodine are like super widespread deficiencies that a lot of people associate with a vegan diet, but most people who get deficient are not on a vegan diet, and I feel like we should start paying more attention to all of them.
Yeah, you have critical nutrients in every diet. It's not just vegans who have critical nutrients.
Oh, yeah.
We just tend to talk more about it, which is great, so that people get educated, because it's a new way of living, you know, a new way of eating as well. So we have to talk about vitamin B12, and we have to talk about iodine and all these things, but so does everyone else. Maybe about different nutrients, like the standard diets, probably about fiber, and vitamin D and other nutrients as well. But in every single diet, you have critical nutrients.
Yeah, I feel like that's really important to get across. And we used to get a lot of studies back in the day saying that vegans had a higher risk of vitamin B12 deficiency and all of that. But the most
which is true if you only look at people who don't use a supplement. Yeah,
right. But the most recent studies with modern day vegans, show that the vitamin intake for vitamin B12 and all that, it's pretty much the same. There was a study coming out of Switzerland, you probably heard of it, that showed exactly that vegans do get a little bit less, but the deficiency wasn't really there like it used to be 20 years ago. And that's how a lot of myths started, because 20 years ago, the average vegan probably wasn't supplementing, probably didn't have the healthiest diet.
Yeah, definitely. You can also just check your blood levels. Like if you check my blood levels, you will even see that my B12 level is a little bit too high. Simply for a long time, I supplemented with a way too high dose. Yeah.
And for those wondering, there's no harmful effect in having very high vitamin B12 levels that we know of.
Yeah, that's the thing that we know of. That's why I'm like, let's just try to get a good amount rather than. And there is no reason to supplement with 5,000 micrograms every single day, or 1,000. I think even 1,000 is too high, as long as you maybe if you suffer from a severe deficiency. But otherwise, it's not necessary. It's just wasted money.
Yeah, but for other vitamins, and I feel like that's really important to get this across, like vitamin D, like iodine, like iron, like calcium, you shouldn't really have too much of them, because they can be harmful, and we have good data on that. Not only can they impair the absorption of other nutrients, in the case of iron, in the case of calcium, but they might increase your risk of heart disease. For example, high vitamin D and extremely high vitamin D levels and high calcium levels can lead to calcification in your arteries and increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. So be aware of that. It's not the case that we know of for B12, but for these other vitamins, just be careful not to take too much. Do you have thoughts on, wait, there's a question here. My face broke out in acne when I supplemented with B12 and found some research about that. I stopped it, although I need it. Did you hear about that problem before? Yes, I did hear about that problem before, and I think Dr. Michael Greger has some videos about it on nutritionfacts.org.
Yeah, he definitely has. He has videos about everything. But I also had people before talking to me and saying, hey, I started facing problems once I supplemented. I don't know how much B12 you take every day. I will maybe start with a lower dosage, and it could help if you try different forms. There is the synthetic form, which from my personal experience, I don't have any data that proves that, causes more skin problems than the MHA formula. So maybe try different things. Try different forms.
Yeah, try cyanocobalamin, methylcobalamin, and all of that. There's lots of different types of B12, but start with a lower dose and watch that video. I'm sure Dr. Michael Greger will give you all the information that you need, as always. What's your thoughts on meat substitutes like plant-based meats and lab-grown meat?
I don't really consume that much of it simply because I'm a big fan of whole foods. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't like order a vegan burger in a restaurant. Can taste incredible, but yeah, I don't really have much here in Bali, to be honest. So that's why I also don't eat too much of it. I really try to eat as many whole foods as possible. So yeah, even when I spend time in Europe, I usually stick to tofu and tempeh. But yeah, once in a while can taste really nice. And lab meat, such an interesting topic. I think it's great that we try to reduce animal suffering. If I would eat it, I don't know. I know that there is there is a restaurant in Singapore, which is not too far from here, which offers, I think, lab-grown meat now. But I don't really feel like I should go try it now. I don't know. Can't give you an answer.
Okay. And you've traveled a lot. Do you believe that you'll see a vegan world in your lifetime?
A what? A vegan war?
A vegan world.
Oh, I was like a vegan war. Catch this, Hummus. A vegan world. What is a vegan world?
Like no more slaughterhouses and all of that. People not eating meat. Maybe they're eating lab-grown meat, but not meat from an animal.
I would hope so. I don't know. Turns out that humans are really bad fortune tellers. So I don't know. Like, I hope so. But I already see like so many great things happening. You know, so many like mainstream companies start offering vegan alternatives. And that's for me the right thing. And if you just look at the numbers, they are exploding. More and more people go vegan. More and more vegan options are available. And I think that's all we can do right now.
Yeah.
And whether at some point we are fully vegan or mostly vegan is up to many things.
So we have a question here. Texturized soy. Your thoughts on texture vegetable protein? Also, can you get that easily in Indonesia?
Could I get it? Probably. I could get it. I love it. It tastes nice. Just takes more time to prepare than tempeh or tofu, and you have most cases you have to soak it in like some spices and stuff to make it a little bit yeah, how would you say it? More exciting.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great source of protein.
Yeah, okay. I feel the same. I don't have it every day, but like 2-3 times a week, because tofu and tempeh are healthier and legumes are healthier. You can use texture vegetable protein sometimes, but I wouldn't make it an everyday thing maybe. But it's great. It's great. I really like it. 50 grams of protein per 100 is like the one food every bodybuilder should be eating, and no one knows about it. And I did
but it's also like if you soak 100 grams of textured soy meat in water, it becomes like 200-300 grams, and it's quite filling. But still, super high in protein.
Yeah, well, when I'm out of protein powder, sometimes I throw in 50 grams of texture vegetable protein in a smoothie or something like that, and I just use it as protein powder with fruits and all of that. By the way, was my question answered? I lost a connection to this live a few minutes.
I think she can go back. You can post the live afterwards, and she can go back. I think we have 4 minutes left.
Yeah, I'm gonna post a live here and on YouTube as well next Wednesday. Nice. So it's gonna be up there forever. So the last question that I have for you, and this is one question that I love, and I got this from another podcast that I think you also listen. But let's say you have a microphone and you have 3 messages to leave to people all around the world. Everyone is going to listen to it. Everyone is going to understand it. What would you say? And these are the last 3 things that you're going to say in your life. After that, no one will listen. This is going to be your legacy. What?
Beautiful. And I have 2 minutes to answer that question, right?
I can give you a little bit more.
No, I think for a live you only have 60 minutes and then they cut you off.
It used to be, but sometimes it doesn't cut anymore. So I guess it's okay.
Then I just pray. Okay, 3 things. Obviously, go vegan, idiots. No, I would encourage them to educate themselves about veganism. I would find great words for that. That would be my first thing that I would talk about. I would remind people that time here on planet Earth is limited, that we all don't know when we're going to die, and that we better make the most of it, of the limited time that we have. I like to remind myself of this, thing of death. I love to think and talk about death simply because it eliminates all my anxiety, all my fear, because it shows you what is truly meaningful in life. Like if you would die tomorrow, you wouldn't worry about all these things. You wouldn't be obsessed just because someone talked some like bad things about you. You wouldn't be afraid of taking risks. So yeah, I would remind people, hey, you're gonna die. Like, don't waste your time here. Third thing, eat your hummus. Third thing would be probably find something that puts you on fire. Find a purpose. That would.
That's great. On the death subject, I feel like that's incredibly fascinating, and more people need to think about it, and we need to talk about it more. I personally still feel a lot of anxiety when I think about that. That's why one of the reasons.
Some people hear death and they're like, oh, and some people like they really like that topic. Have you read the book by Marcus Aurelius? Meditations.
No, I haven't.
One of the best books I've ever read, and that's probably it's probably the reason why I like to talk about death, simply because like he
Memento Mori.
Yeah, he shared so many insights and so interesting so many interesting ideas about death and how we can use this as a reminder to ourselves. I know that Steve Jobs described it in his, or the author of his autobiography described it, that he would stand every single day in front of a mirror and remind himself, hey, what would you do today if this would be the last day of your life? Every single day. And I can understand why he did that, because for some people it just eliminates all the fear, all the stressful thoughts. Because, like, honestly, if you would know that you're going to die tomorrow, you wouldn't worry so much.
Yeah, I really like
the kiss your family and eat a bunch of hummus, but you would definitely not worry about, I don't know, student loans or things of that nature.
Yeah, I like that part of it. I just don't like the part of thinking that I'm not going to be able to see what the world is up to anymore. And I feel like that just crushes me. And that's one of the reasons why I want to be so healthy and try to live to 100, 125 if we can.
I can understand that. But then even then, death has a good purpose.
Yeah. Okay, right. That's really interesting. Do you feel like the thing you fear the most is regret on your deathbed? Because I feel like, for me, that's the thing that I fear the most in life in general.
Yeah, definitely one of. It's not a fear. It's something I want to definitely avoid. Yeah, it's scary to think that you are, like, I don't know, 89 and you're sitting there and like, oh, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have taken more risks. I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard. Again, great. There is another great book called Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Incredible book. A nurse actually asked old people, what do you guys regret? And the stories are incredible.
Yeah, I've heard of that book. I haven't read it, but this is something that I think a lot throughout my days. Sometimes when I think, what do I want to do? And I always have that on the back of my mind. It's like the worst feeling in life must be, well, I would like to do this, but I don't have time anymore. Can you imagine it? I like, it hurts me. It's painful just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's one reason why I always tell people, like, I probably tell my partner 17 times per day that I love her. Because, like, imagine the feeling of you're not being able to tell the person or a person that you love that you like, you want to tell this person you care about him, her, you love him or her, but you just can't. And whether you're scared of death or not, this could be every day the case. Every single time when you get into a car, every single time when you travel, every single time when you leave the house, even at home, it could happen every single day. And I think we should treat our family, our friends, with the respect that time is limited, or like with keeping that in mind.
Dude, let's end it there. I feel like that's a really deep note. Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much. We never talked in person. This was our first conversation, but hopefully we'll meet soon. Thank you so much for everything that you're doing for veganism and also for helping thousands of people around the world. Looking forward to your book, the English version. I still can't read German, but yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to leave this here on the page, and next Wednesday it will be up on YouTube. Thank you so much, man.
Beautiful. And guys, if you ask questions in the comments, shoot me a DM and I'll try to answer them as soon as possible.
The same for me.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.